Hello everyone, and welcome back to Diablo 3. After doing quite a large side dungeon last time, we can now focus on...
Minions. My brothers grow impatient within the Soulstone. Yes, I can hear them, even down here. Their voices are so pitiful and small that they almost amuse me. Yet, they are my prize, not the Nephilims, or the girls for that matter. This is not her time. This is the age of sin.
Fair enough, so let's see what Sergeant Brooks has to say.
You think we're all just waiting around for you to save us, hero? Well, I've secured this post. I don't need your help.
Yeah, he really does.
There, I can see them. Gods, more are coming.
That's okay, I can handle them.
What is that? Something's below us. Can't you feel it?
Oh, these guys are so annoying.
Long ago, the heralds of pestilence were lesser demons who rebelled against Asmodan. The Lord of Sin vanquished them easily, but instead of slaying them, he granted each one a long arm, infested with a poison that could kill anything but Asmodan himself. The heralds have been plague-riddled menaces ever since.
There we go. I must have accidentally disabled that.
Your bravery is an inspiration to us all. May Akarat bless you.
Okay, I'm sure he will. Since we just saved a lot of people. I was gonna say something earlier, but I forgot because there was talking going on. Oh yeah, these guys, by the way, are really annoying because you probably have seen that in the fight already. They can put those nasty long arms into the ground and they come up elsewhere and just do lots of poison damage. Maybe you'll see at some point, though I'm trying to prevent that because it does a lot of damage.
Though I have searched every corner of the great library of Chaldeum, I can find no references to the true fate of the Blood Clan Khazra. Some crumbling papers hint that they made a pact to serve the mythical lesser evils. But surely such a thing cannot be considered proper scholarship. Can it?
I'm assuming that those scrolls were correct. At least judging from the fact that we're now facing those Blood Khazra. This is, by the way, one of the other areas where you can find one of the ingredients for the Staff of Herding to get to the pony level. There's a certain dungeon which can spawn here, but doesn't always. And on the second level of that dungeon there's an enemy which can spawn, but doesn't always. Oh, Electrified. Haven't seen that in ages. Electrified just means they do elitist jerks. What's that? Wait. Shouldn't it tell me? I don't want to cross... I don't want... All achievements. No, it's not a specific one to Act 3, I think. General? No. Summary? No. Campaign? No. It's none of these, definitely. crafting? No. Feats of strength? It's definitely not. I want to know what that one's for. It's probably for killing a certain amount of certain enemies. There it is. Kill 5,000 elite enemies. Okay. Champion rare or unique. And then 20,000 is the next level of that. Fair enough, fair enough. There's other achievements for killing at least one champion or elite group of every type of enemy and such, and I thought maybe that had been that one. But it was just about killing a certain number of them. So that's one of those achievements which you just get as time goes by. There's nothing to it at all. And that's the poison arm, by the way, I just stood in. Those green poison puddle things on the ground. Quite nasty and quite annoying. And I still don't want white items. Okay. So we've gone full circle, means we can now do the middle.
We couldn't hold on. There were just too many of them.
The men are losing hope. The demons' numbers seem endless. They come at all times, day or night, and no amount of casualties we inflict slows their advance. We need reinforcements. We need help.
Perfect, we got a level up. And our inventory is almost full, so let's go back to town. Nothing unique, so I'm assuming I can just salvage all of it. And while I'm at it, I'm also switching my follower out to the scoundrel.
Let us seek our fortunes together.
Oh, I can choose anatomy, increasing critical hit chance, or hysteria. I'm just going for hysteria.
Oh, I do that extremely well.
Nope, nothing new to say, obviously. Still getting some of the weaker health potions. But mostly I'm getting the better ones now, so that's okay. And so let's go back to the battlefields. And check out the new skills. So the fire bats get a bonus. Plague bats. Diseased bats fly towards the enemy and infect them. Damage is slow at first, but can increase over time to a maximum of 578% weapon damage. Okay, so interesting. Instead of the zombie dogs, we now choose Spirit Walk with the Honored Guest, which basically means for every second the Spirit Walk is active, I regain mana. And the Big Bad Voodoo, we get the Gargantuan with Restless Giant, which means against elite enemies or when surrounded by lots of enemies he gets stronger. Cool, cool, cool. So I'm definitely changing the Pierce the Veil to Blood Ritual.
If I keep helping you kill the Lords of Hell, I'll probably be a good person, eh?
Goodness has always lain within you, my friend.
Are you serious?
Yes, I saw it from the beginning.
Here's my Gargantuan. This is my Gargantuan. Still slightly laggy, but not too bad. Shame to lose the zombie dogs, but well, as I said, I did get a replacement. So let's see if there's anything in here, and I know there's a side dungeon which I haven't done yet. Stout wooden door leading to CRYDER'S outpost. Okay. No idea what that is at the moment. This is an area which I also haven't played very much, so certainly caused enemies to spawn right down there for some reason. But for now, let's check out the outpost. Hope you don't hear that. That's my new chair. It's making that noise from time to time. Don't want to explain why it does it. It just does.
My curse upon you.
Oh, that's him in enraged mode apparently. He's massive now. Shame it doesn't last that long. And it's got a cooldown of 2 minutes, so... don't think I'll see it against this boss. Oh, a treasure seeker. I never miss those, or at least I try to never miss those. Apparently they just have a ridiculously high drop rate for legendaries and rare items and such. Though it's also worth noting, none of the legendaries I ever found came from one of them, so... might be that's just a myth. I've so far not really seen any solid research on drop rates. I've seen some really biased stuff, like I think I spoke about that at some point, where someone was saying this is the best place to farm legendaries because I farmed this place for 50 times and got this and this many, and he compared that to other places which he'd done 2 runs in, so yeah. And that's sadly, for a lot of the drop research that I've seen people do in this game, it boils down to just rather badly done statistics. Like, one guy said that the drops in Act 1 were generally worse than those in Act 2. And as it turned out, at the end of Act 1 he just increased his magic find by 40%, which might just have an effect on how good the drops are. Now, it doesn't necessarily make the statement wrong. It might still be that Act 1 has worse drops. Probably does, at least in normal difficulty. Well, actually in all difficulties.
It looks like it's seen better days, though.
But if you have a correct statement but you use bad evidence to support it, that just doesn't look good. So yeah, it's very difficult for this kind of for online games to establish like good data on drop rates. Because for one, there's often a lot of personal bias and people wanting their personal favorite farm route to also be the best farm route. And I have to go back, don't I? Yeah. I forgot one side dungeon as I recall. So I've seen that where people have always farmed this particular quest for money, for example. That was in a different game, but and then something had changed to the loot system, which would technically have made that farm worse, but they just found a way to find evidence to just keep running that particular farm. Which... I don't know, it's bad if you basically take your personal desires into the whole thing. Saying that you want to find this result because that would be the most pleasing to you. It's bad way to do science. Forward barracks, okay. Just a single level dungeon, so don't expect anything too good out of it. But yeah, the issue is that these online games sometimes have fairly complicated methods of how they distribute loot. Now, I don't know to which extent this is true for this one, but as I said, sometimes I've seen the quite complicated mechanisms because in the game, which I probably spent the most time in ever, Guild Wars, the idea was that the developers didn't really like the whole farming thing. They didn't like people, rather they didn't want people doing the exact same thing 100 times in a row to get good items. So they've implemented a lot of systems which basically decrease your drop rate, or at least supposedly they installed those, because there's never actually been much solid evidence supporting that, but at least that was the idea. The idea was that drop rate gets better as you just play through the game normally with a full party of 8 people. And if you solo farm the same area over and over...
That you still don't really like me.
I am always grateful for your company.
And yet you keep dragging me into these disgusting demon-infested lands.
Yep, well that's where I'm usually going, so... well, that was a short one. Fair enough. I wouldn't have needed to go back for that, I guess, but oh well. But yeah, in Guild Wars, as I said, a lot of systems have been implemented to prevent like the solo farming thing. So if you solo farm the same area 100 times, your drops get continuously worse, and so in some ways it's more profitable to do different kinds of farms. But the point is that developers tend to put, or at least for certain types of games, especially for online games like this one, it's not unheard of that developers put a lot of effort into making a loot system slightly complicated. So it's not just the simple matter of...
Leave me. It is too late. Take this. I have no use for it anymore.
That opponent there must have wonderful treasure.
Probably mustn't he? So let's give him some zombies. Oh, and look, my gargantuan has turned particularly gargantuan. Nah, didn't want those white items. So be gone. I wanted to add one more thing, yeah. And I do see where they're coming from to put these changes in, because in a way the whole solo farming thing, like just clear this level 1,000 times for the best drops, that promotes a very boring playstyle. So if they haven't implemented such a system, I would actually like a system where you somehow get more drops as you just play through normally. So I don't know. For example, one thing which they could do is that your drop rate is always, well, you get a certain bonus to drop rate. Maybe, in the sense that your drop rate is highest in the areas where you've been the least. So, if you've always been farming Act 3 and not really been doing anything in Act 1, perhaps it would be nice to have an increased drop rate in Act 1.
Look out! They've been circling for hours.
Okay. This is something which happens quite often here. You find the soldiers saying they've been circling for hours, and then those flying demons just come down and attack and get slaughtered. And here's another one of the ballista. As you see, we need to destroy 1 trebuchet and 3 ballistae. And wow, there's a lot of action on the screen. I'm losing control. Okay, I didn't lose control after all. Which I've spoken about that a lot earlier in, I think in Act 1 that was. To me that would be a good idea because it brings back life to old areas that people maybe don't play as much anymore. Just because they're not as profitable. And I don't know, I would think that it could add a lot to the game if anything you do will somehow be profitable. Which is an idea they really tried to take to heart in Guild Wars 2. Oh yes, I get the poison bats now, I forgot. Where I am... A big part of the idea was that even if you're a really high level player, you can go back to the very early levels and still get good items there and still get stuff that's actually good for you. So even as a level 80 character, which is the current maximum in the game, if I go into the very starting area, which is technically designed for level 1 to 15, and I do events there and do quests there basically, I have a chance, and not a ridiculously low chance either, to still find items of the highest rarity and items of my level. So
the truth binds you.
Even going back to the very beginning and maybe, say, playing with a friend, I could find a weapon there that is actually better than whatever it is I'm currently carrying, hypothetically. Like, the way the system is implemented is not ideal, but the idea, I think is really good. Stop poisoning me, poison someone else, please. And so, I think in some ways they could do something similar in this game, where they, I don't know, maybe they just say that they're slightly keeping track of, like, say, the last 15 areas you visited. And if you visit one of these areas again, your drop rate is severely decreased. Wait, gotta remember, I'm using poison bats now, no longer the Grasp of the Dead, so for Grasp of the Dead I just put down a single click and that's the effect done. For the poison bats I obviously wanna channel them, so keep it pressed. And that's the reason I wanted to change my passive to be the blood ritual. Because the passive, what was it, something about the veil, beyond the veil. That would have increased my mana cost and decreased my ability to channel and spam.
That opponent there must have wonderful treasure.
Is everyone dead?
Time
yes.
to loot.
Everyone is dead. Indeed, time to loot. Well said, scoundrel. Well said. And these are the Caverns of Frost. There's 2 types of, like, I think those are the wrong ones. I think Icefall Caverns are the correct one, or Icefall Caves. The ones I spoke about that you can get the Staff of Herding item for.
Oh, demons. You've killed one of them and you've killed them all.
Each one we slay brings peace to the spirits.
I suppose we could down a few more.
It's not like he has a choice. I saw that in an LP of another game actually called Dragon's Crown. where you also had a thief accompanying you, who was a bit of a shady character, and that wasn't just like his backstory. If there were if some enemy dropped items and you didn't pick them up fast enough, that thief would steal them, and you would not be able to get them. Like, he would keep them.
Minions. There is nothing I loathe more than failure. You know this well. But if any of you need a further lesson, I will have you delivered into the Circle of Wrath with great haste. The enemy is strong, but he cannot pass the demon gate. Secure it, or your lives will be forfeit.
Fair enough. Anyway, that's the end of this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.